Today on the net, Syrian activists report on attacks by government forces in the suburbs of Damascus. Web users in Yemen share accounts of the recurrent electricity cuts across the country. And blocked web pages may soon be showing a new specific error code. Residents of Zamalka bury their dead. These images were apparently filmed on Sunday in this suburb of Damascus. According to Syrian opposition activists, and as several pieces of amateur video footage, although difficult to verify, would suggest, at least 30 people were killed the previous day when a mortar shell struck a car during a funeral procession. Violence is also raging in Douma. For weeks now, government forces have been waging shelling attacks on this rebel stronghold located around 15 kilometers away from the capital, Damascus. The army recently launched an offensive to regain power over this city, which has been under the control of the Free Syrian Army. Rebels Bashar al-Assad's government describes as terrorists. Activists have posted and are circulating images online suggesting tanks and attack helicopters have been deployed over the past few days. Opposition sources say the assault has claimed dozens of lives and many residents have fled the city to escape the violence. Syrian NGOs have posted a message on social networks saying over 100 families are currently stuck in refuges. They talk of a catastrophic humanitarian situation in Douma and are appealing to the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement to send in medical teams as a matter of emergency. Not only do the people of Yemen have to deal with water and food shortages, they're also facing electricity cuts on a daily basis. For some, the situation has now become unbearable, and they're turning to social networks to voice their frustrations. Yemeni web users have been talking about the disastrous consequences the blackouts are having on everyday life across the country. Here, activist Atiaf Al-Wazir says it can literally be a case of life or death for some hospitalised patients. This other Twitter user says that with the repeated electricity cuts, all the food he was storing in his freezer now has to be thrown away. This web user says the authorities must treat the problem as a matter of urgency, and South Yemen must take priority as the lack of air conditioning makes the humidity and heat too much to bear. This blogger says that because of the high temperatures, some are organising protests against the electricity cuts at night time or early in the morning, before the heat becomes intolerable. And in view of these daily blackouts, many people across Yemen are doing what they can to ensure it has as little effect as possible on their day-to-day lives. As we can see in these amateur pictures, it's not uncommon to see students revising for their end-of-year exams under the lights of street lamps, the only source of artificial light unaffected by the electricity cuts. When the error 404 message pops up as we're browsing the internet, it means the page doesn't exist. A new HTTP code, error 451, may well soon see the day to inform web users the site they wish to access has been blocked by the authorities. Canadian software developer Tim Bray came up with the idea and didn't just pick the figure out of thin air. He wanted to pay tribute to Ray Bradbury, author of the novel Fahrenheit 451, in which reading is forbidden and books are systematically burned. The Palace of Versailles recently launched this interactive game in partnership with Google. It's 1640 and King Louis XIV needs help in building his castle, positioning the walls of the palace, designing a French garden, helping the Sun King himself find his way out of the maze. Children and adults alike will have fun learning about this precious piece of French heritage through a series of riddles, puzzles and games. 11 months spent taking apart, cleaning and putting back together a second-hand car engine bought online. A British web user made this video using the 3,000 photos he took at each stage of the rebuilding process. Screws, nuts, bolts and valves aplenty. This video will definitely hit the right note with mechanics enthusiasts.